I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by Olive Orawo.
Hi. Welcome to another episode of the In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is Olive Orawo, and this is not season 5. This is actually a BRIBE episode. I've done a bonus episode to just come and tell you, please go and vote for me for the Pulse Influencer Awards 2024. I have been nominated Podcast Influencer of the Year. So I'm giving you this bonus episode so you can go vote for me. Long game, my friend. So you can go to any of my socials, and even in the description below, I will leave a link that will take you to the Pulse Influencer Awards page. And under Podcast Influencer, please vote for Olive Orao. We really want to bring this home. Thank you. And now to our episode. Today we are talking about the lessons I learned from my exes, like what my exes taught me, and in a good way. I know every time we're talking about exes, we're just like, rolls eyes. You know the way you're a villain? You know the way your ex is a villain in your story? You're probably also a villain in theirs. Do we ever think about it like that? But anyway, these are some of the things that my exes taught me. Like, I learned different things from different exes, and I can't always say it's always been bitter. There were sweet moments. And so one of the first ones that I used to date, and I'm just like so grateful for this lesson, is my ex taught me how to do small talk. I don't know if I can put it at a small talk per se, but he was adamant about us catching up every day just to know how our day was. So it will be, how was your day today? And because all the time I would just wake up, go to work, and come back in the evening, my answer was always the same. It was like, I was at work. I was just at work. And for me, I think because my whole life I was so used to doing things by myself, for myself, I just, like, whenever things happened, they'd be recorded as normal events for me in my head. So let's say I won something, I would just go back home and celebrate, or I'd do whatever I do to celebrate myself. If maybe I had a bad day, or maybe someone did something to me that hurt me, I'd self-soothe. I'd find ways to self-soothe. And so to me, events of the day were never recorded in my head as worth telling someone. It was just, if I went to work, if nothing bizarre happened, like Beyonce was noted on Gong Road, I just never cared to record it. Like, it wasn't something worth telling people. So every time he'd ask me, how was your day? And I'd just say, my day was a work day. I went to work, I came back. And then I would ask him, then how was your day? And he'd tell me very almost useless details that were very interesting. And he'd say, I see you like Grant's, the whiskey. I saw they've just erected a billboard on Thika Road. I saw that on my way to work. On my way to work today, I saw a red CX-5. Today, Kevin, my workmate, came in wearing a suit. The boss today didn't look really happy. He walked in, he didn't talk to anyone. He only greeted one person and then he left. Today on the site, I had to carry a mask because I realized how much dust there is on the site and maybe I could catch a cold. So he had such very small details that I just never thought about. And to him, he was like, that's worth a report for the day. So then I started learning how to do that. So I would come and say, like, okay, today I had lunch with Vivian. And for me, I always have lunch with Vivian, not all the time, but it didn't occur to me that the day I have lunch with Vivian, it's something you can say, it's something you can report as something out of the norm that happened in your day. And for just those, over time, by the time we were breaking up, I learned how to give a recollection of my day with very small details that earlier on I never thought were really worth it. And it makes for very good conversation. And sometimes it actually triggers other things. Like you'll say, I had lunch with Vivian today. And then he'll ask you, did Vivian get that gig that she had gone for an interview for? And then you'll be like, oh yeah, by the way, she was told this and that. So then it triggers conversations. But in my head, I always thought everything that happened around me was too tiny to tell, was too minute a detail to tell someone. And I found it very beautiful. That is one of the things that I've carried with me that I found very beautiful, that now if you ask me what my day was like, I can describe. And this in turn has made it over time. I've realized it's made it so easy for me to answer those very ambiguous questions like, tell me about yourself. It made it easy, because I remember there's this time I went for an interview, and it was after I had learned this skill, and they said, tell me about yourself. And I asked them, what about myself do you want to know? Should I give you a fun personal detail, or do you want to know about my career? And if it's my career, ask me about something specific. Like ask me, when you did digital marketing in this company, how was that? And I learned that when they now did that, when they asked me a very specific question, I had details upon details to tell them. So that very minute skill of just being able to describe your day has gone ahead to really help me be able to build up on conversations that really don't have a lot of depth to them. And it was beautiful. I was like, now, and these are things you don't even realize, because he'd say things like, even if you are heading to work, the car that was next to you while you were waiting in traffic today is not the same car that will be next to you tomorrow when you're going to work while waiting in traffic. But for me, I was only recording, I waited in traffic. I wait in traffic every day. But today, the car beside you was blue. The car beside you tomorrow is red. So those very small details, they're worth it. Today, I saw a dog pass. Today we stood by the road for about 5 minutes waiting for some Maasais to pass with their cows. Those really tiny details. And then you get into, by the way, how have Maasais maintained just being out of the norm, even in the modern world? They still, you'll get into a conversation that just came from very small details. So that is one thing that I took from my ex that is a really positive thing, and I really like it to date. And I don't know if there's something about that's familiar for you, but if it is, well, there you go. Is there something you learned from your ex that's pretty interesting? Now that's one. And then there's this time, you know how now you're catching up with your ex every day, and then sometimes you just give them, I am sorry to admit this, maybe in my next relationship, I'll be a better person, but you know how pillow talk sometimes is discussing your friends? The gossip, the tea be hot. So every time after we've, I just had a flashback of pillow talk. I really love pillow talk. When we're having pillow talk, and every time you'd catch up on just random things, the conversations really with your partner just could go from anything. It could go from a cup of tea to what they're going to do to PDD. Like it could go anywhere. So during some of these conversations, there's this one time my ex told me, I don't know if I want to hear about that your friend anymore. And I was like, what's wrong? I thought you liked her, because my ex had met my friends. And it's like, every time I hear about her, she's a victim of something. She's always has a sob story. And he told me, be very careful about people who always are the victims. And it occurred to me when my friend was telling me that story that I came to learn later on that she also had a part in what happened, in the negative events of what took place. I was just like, why did I not think of that? Now, I don't know why my ex had thought of, I don't know why he was way wiser. Like, why was he wise like that? Anyways, so he told me that be very careful about people who are always the victim. What was their part in the whole thing. And I thought to myself, even right now when I describe that, thing has stayed with me, because even right now when I describe my breakups or with my exes, I'm very careful not to paint them as villain, because there was a part of it that involved you. Even you having that person as your partner speaks to who you are as a person, speaks to your choices, your decisions in life. So when you come to everyone and this is like, oh, this person, he did this and this to me and he's so bad, didn't you have a part on it to play? And I'm not talking, please do not use this video and go quote me in gender-based violence situations, please. No, I'm just saying, like, normal relationships that just have the normal disagreements and then just end quite vanilla. It's never a serious issue. It's not a serious issue of abuse or all that. I'm just saying, when a relationship ends and you're so busy painting your partner in such bad light, did you have anything to do with it? And for me, I realized that idea of always being the victim. And you saw I even did a video on TikTok the other day saying, I don't want to be friends with people who are always the ones who are manipulated. You know, right now I am 32 years old. I can't be saying I was manipulated, and then last year I was in a relationship, I say that man was a manipulator, and then when I was 28 I was dating someone else, and then I say that man was a manipulator. Like, at what point do you start taking part in the things that affect you? Are you always, will you still be the victim through and through? So that really took me back. And he was just like, unless she is winning something, I really do not want to talk about her anymore. And I was like, okay. So I stopped talking. So I stopped bringing tea about that friend of mine to my partner. And so it was just like, and then I started being keen about it. I started being keen about that witness issue. And I remember the next time she came to me and she was like, this and this person has did that, had that, da, 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 da. And I was like, how did it get to that point? Before that person, because some people will give you a story that is so extreme. You're just like, did someone just wake up and howl a cup at you? Like, how can you give me the build up? Can you give me the build up to where it got? What were you saying? What were they saying? Give me the details. Give me the build up to what happened before that person hurled a cup at you. So then I realized, okay, you can't always take every story as gospel true, and you're just like, okay, because I'm standing for women, I'm a girl's girl. Yeah. When you're just with your girl, don't ask her in front of people, please. In front here, my girl is my girl and she did nothing wrong. Behind the curtains, just ask her, girl, what is happening? Why this is not right? By the way, this is not right. I know that whatever they did was wrong, but even what you did here was not right. So that always having a victim mentality, I also just picked it up from my ex, and I don't think anyone would have ever mentioned it to me. And something else that I picked from another ex was how to process my emotions. And I think over the years, I have learned how to my emotional intelligence has really matured because of looking at things on not at surface level. Always when something happens, look at it deeply, because there's this one time I had left a job somewhere. It was toxic. It was hectic. I had struggled with that job. But then even when I was, just before I left, like I think a month or two before I left that job, there's a girl who came into the office, and honestly, she had been hired. She was the only, like, she made those last 2 months bearable. She was the only sanity I had in that office. We became best of friends. We were just like, I was just like, goodness, like the universe has sent me someone to just elevate me, to just like to take me away from all these things that have been, because I had no one. Everyone was against me in that office. I don't know whether it's because I was young. I don't know. No one was rooting for me. And this girl just came and we became best of buddies, and we used to catch up. And I remember she also taught me a couple of things. She's the one who taught me how to be like high class, and She was like, babe, we're going here, we're going to order wine, and let's go here and get, like, she taught me how to go on dates, to do such things, and then just do that as girls, because she had a daughter, and she had a teenage daughter, and she used to do mom daughter things a lot, and they do mom daughter things like besties. So she used to drag me along on such, like, things that are the same as the ones she used to do with her daughter. So we'd do. It was just a good relationship. It was such a good friendship at the time, and it still is. It's just that we don't communicate as often. But then, so the day after I had left the job, my farewell party was done. We went to the club. We planned and said, let's go to the club. Let's just go and blow off some steam. I'm so done. I'm tired. And so we went to the club, but I think there's a club where I was bad. The female bouncer said, you look drunk, you can't come in. And I hadn't even drunk. Like, we were just starting out the night. So I don't know if she had a problem with me. And usually, I don't know. I don't know what the bouncer had a problem with. But anyway, so we didn't enter that club. We went to another club. In that other club that we went to, we had a good time. It was just a good time. Anyway, let me not get into the details. Then we left the club. While we were leaving the club on the stairs, I saw a couple fighting. And then the couple just, the man held the girl's head and banged it on the wall. And I do not remember the events that took place after that, but I remember screaming. And usually in real life, I don't know how to scream. Even now, you tell me scream, I don't know how to scream. Like, I usually do not scream. So I'm being told I screamed, and my scream was that deathly that people in the club had, with the music and all that. So I remember, and then I remember, like, I think 2 bouncers coming to me and dragging me back and sitting me on a table somewhere and giving me water and being like, just relax. It's okay. It's being sorted. And I kept telling them, go and get that man. He's going to kill her. And it was just so wild. And my friend was just like, okay, babe, let's go home. It's okay. Don't follow that man. Now, I went outside looking for that man. Why are you beating a girl like that? And the girl was so tiny. This man was huge. He was towering over that girl. And like, the events of that night. And so I don't know what happened outside there while I was looking for that man, where that man has gone. I don't know what... The way that man was so big, I don't know if I found him, what I'd have done to him. I don't know. My head was running at the time. So while I'm trying to find that man, I break down and cry. I just cry. I cry. And my friend doesn't know what to do with me. And she's just like, Olive, it's okay. And I just cried. I cried. And then finally we took our cabs and went home. I told her I've gotten home. So then I'm telling my ex, Aki, I've cried. I cried. I don't know. I hope I haven't spoiled my friend's night, because it was supposed to be such a good night. And he told me, you had a lot of pent up energy. There's a lot you had pent up, like even you just knowing, leaving your place of work and leaving your friend and going to a new place to find out you're now going to make new friendships, you're now going to start figuring out a new place. And then there's this friend of yours who you won't see as often, you won't hang out with anymore. Like, there's a deeper connection. There was a lot more to you crying than just that you saw a woman getting beaten. Apart from that, there's a lot more. Even the going to be denied entry in the other club was you were processing a lot of emotions and you had pent them up, and in that moment outside that club, it all just came out and you didn't know what it is. And I was like, okay, that's very, very interesting. So from that point, I started being very keen to understand the psychology of things. So when I see someone do something, and I think that's why I went into this entire space that I'm in right now, where it's just like, can you find out what is the underlying issue? What is the root cause of what you're going through? Okay, fine. Yes, you're crying. Okay, this person has come and they've hurled a cup at me. Why have they hurled a cup at me? It's not just that they hate me. Why do they hate me? What about me triggers them so much. So these are some of the things that I came to learn. And it was from that one incident of my ex telling me it's not because a girl was being beaten. There was so much you were just bottling up, a lot of emotions, and they were not necessarily negative or positive. It was just a lot of emotions, but you were just all handling yourself so gracefully, so demure, but inside there was a lot boiling. And so in that moment, it just all came out. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. So from that moment, I've always been very keen to just look into things. Okay, this person is behaving this way. Okay, you're feeling like that. And if you're feeling like, why are you feeling like that? And on that note, I actually have started a consultancy. It's called By Olive, and we have tools that are supposed to help you with emotional intelligence, or rather to understand your emotions better. And there's this, which is my favorite one. It's an emotions wheel. It goes for 500 bob. So the emotions wheel just helps you identify what you're feeling. And I swear to you, since I got the emotions wheel, I've been able to identify so many things. And then I get to journal. So I also have journals that I've produced that I'm also selling. Those are going for, I think, 1,500 shillings. But yeah, you can find By Olive. I think I'll even leave the link here in the description. And the emotions wheel specifically, and the journaling of that particular emotion, it's taken me through, because sometimes I come home and I'm just like, there's also the gaslighting of yourself. You literally gaslight yourself. Like I remember the other day, someone took something from me, and I was like, I felt really bad that they took it from me. And I started asking myself, or am I a mean person? Or am I mean? Don't I like sharing? Okay, I don't like sharing. That's known. But I felt like me telling them that you can't have that's mine, it felt like a mean thing to do. And so while I was struggling with that particular day, I just came to my feelings. I just came to my emotions wheel and identified something like, was it unappreciated or something? I don't know. I can't remember. I've used the emotions wheel for so many things, because there are days you're just mad in emotions, but you don't know what it is. And yeah, for me, it's helped me in that sense. So if you see me trying to understand the underlying issue, understanding the underlying emotion, like what exactly are you dealing with? It's not that someone told you, get out of my house. It is, what about being told get out of my house that triggers you so much? Where does it take you back to? And I honestly have invested in this consultancy so much just so I can give people the same experience I've been having of just understanding my emotions, because me being able to understand what I'm feeling has really helped me extend that to other people. So I know a lot of times what people are feeling, and I know how to treat them and how to draw up my boundaries. And yeah, so again, I'll plug on my consultancy. It's called By Olive. I'll put the links in the description. It's all over my social media as well, so you can just interact with it and see. I would really, really encourage you to buy the merchandise. We have the emotions wheel, we have the gratitude jar, and they're pretty interesting. They have like tweaks to it. They're not your regular tools that you use for let's say therapy. I promise you'll like it. But with that said, I think I've come to the end of the episode. Do I remember anything else my exes would have taught me? Just today in the morning, I made a video about about every reggae song I know is because I dated a Rastafarian. There's a time I dated a Rastafarian, and gosh, I swear to you, I even knew songs that I didn't know can be clustered under a genre. But yeah, exes do teach us some things, and I've learned not to be bitter. I've learned not to always think of my exes as bad, horrible people. And also I've seen the challenges on social media that you guys are doing on TikTok, and I'm just like, who did you guys date? I guess I was fine. And also on the channel today, I have asked, would you rather take back your ex or forgive a cheating partner? Interesting. Yeah. Interact with the channel as well. It's called Happier Tribe on Instagram. It's a broadcast channel, and we just have a lot of catch-ups there as well. And you'll get to learn also what's happening on By Olive, what new products we have. We have a therapist who's come on, and we'll have more therapists, and they'll be thematic. So if you want to deal with childhood trauma, if you're a firstborn daughter, you want to deal with that. If you are dealing with grief, we'll have all of that provided. So, and they come highly recommended. They are very well known for their work. They are gentle, they are young. You don't feel judged. So basically, By Olive is curating the most beautiful emotional intelligence and mental health space you'll ever come across. Okay, I hope you come across it, and I hope you like this episode, and I hope you in the description also tell me what are some of the things that you learned from your ex. Good things. About ranting about exes will come again on another episode, not this one, but good things you learned from your ex that you carry with you up to date, that you're not bitter. I'm just like that stupid man. But anyway, this particular thing I have is because of them. So tell me in the description what you learned from your ex. And for now, remember, this is a bribe episode. I came here to bribe you. So we have right about 5 days, only 5 days. And you're seeing this episode when you usually see it on Monday morning. So get to it. You can vote as many times as possible. You can vote every single day. Please, let's bring this home. Podcast Influencer of the Year. And that's for Pulse Influencer Awards 2024. I know you like this podcast. I know you like it. Just let's bring this one home. With that said, bye until next season. My fabulous name is Oliver Rao, and this is the In All Honesty podcast.
I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by Olive Orawo.